Good evening. All right. Have to quiet down just a little bit. Actually, I might just go over to that. I'll leave it alone for now. All right. Next cover, right? I might touch up the other one later, but I think it's pretty well done. It's a bit more natively dynamic. It doesn't really can't improve it, hopefully. Oh, I got a red light here. Maybe we are out of red light. Look at that. Check that. Get out my lead. It's right here. Get out the red. I'll reload my pencil. I have to order a bunch of this stuff in the near future to keep topped off. Like my F, I've got another old package of F, but I've definitely been working through this red. Alright. So mostly I want to build out the structure of this guy, make sure he's good. And these creatures here, make sure they're getting their just dues. Looks like snail-like eyes. Maybe we'll get the snail feelers out front too. Something like that. Maybe they're different lengths. Something like that. But yeah, that's the plan here, is work on this little cover here. Get the pencils done for it. And then move on to maybe some pages. Those printed out and prepped. Alright, I got my reference for my characters. I'm just going to go ahead and put that up here. So, got the arms okay on that. Let's see if I can find something better. That's a little bit better. It's definitely closest to the pose. It's kind of swinging the arms a little bit the wrong direction, but I think I can make that work. Something like that. Got some awkward reference up here from myself. And then maybe I could put my little friend up here into the pose too. So I need to get out a different hand. Namely this one. And get a knife out for him. I love these little M13 figures. Pretty handy to have on hand. They're relatively inexpensive and very posable. This knife goes this way. Alright. Just make sure we're kind of getting. I found that this is really helpful for like getting the proportions right pretty easily. Alright, that goes like that. That goes out. Something like this. That. Forward and twisted at the same time. Also, the hips kind of in the way that we're looking at, right? His head turned up, arm is up, like that. That leg's down, this leg is up, back. Twist and forward. Arm should be back. Leg down. Something like that. Let's see, this leg is come down. Let's put this up here. Braces neon. Back. Oh, that's better. Just getting my little figurine all set up over there. Along with my reference for my fabric. That should be okay then. So alright, let's make sure that's big enough. Good evening. Oh, that's right, I forgot to plug that in there too. Remembering. Wait, where is it? Not there. Alright, I'll pause this real quick. Copy. Go. Let's see. Twist his body down. Alright, let's rotate that ramp up. Ugh. I think give you headaches, right? Let's see. Spawn to come around this way. Let's move this path over a little bit to here. It's got this little wraparound thing here, and the hoodie coming off. Should be higher up there. neck, shoulder here. The head's probably got to come up a little bit. Let's see, shoulder there, neck, coming forward. Like that. Can I play this song JK Beats Relaxation? I don't know what that is. I always hesitate with musical stuff online just because it can impact the stream negatively, right? So depending on where it's coming from and whose it is and all that, it can. I don't want any copyright strikes because I have multi-streaming across different platforms. So, maybe YouTube doesn't like it, or Instagram doesn't like it, or whoever. I'll try looking down on his face so he can look up at us. So, yeah. So I don't play music out loud. Maybe if I owned some music or something, I'd consider that. But I know, like one of the places I had music subscribed to for like reels and that, but I don't need it anymore. I guess I should check and see because I don't really need that one anymore. I can get rid of it. But yeah, so yeah, I wouldn't mind. It's just I bring that up, I guess, just to get back to where that face was a bit before. Let's see what I have for a facial expression on this guy. There's my upset. It's probably yelling or something. No, it's just a flat face. Yeah, working on getting this penciled in. Let's see, there we go. I'm careful not over-investing in the face just yet. So, yeah, I have to move it. Things are there, that's right. Let's bring that box up. Alright, that guy's arm goes back. We'll see it through there a bit anyway. Let's see, the shoulder comes there, goes around. So the seam kind of comes along here. And he's going to have this kind of rotating circle there over the elbows. All right. I appreciate that. Hello over there on Kick. Come on in. Appreciate the compliments. He's working on the next next one. Roughing in the details over my initial rough here. Let's see, the satchel wrapping around. Lower. I'm working on my little pitch project here, so some covers for it. And this is one of the covers I did. I was working on one of the other ones earlier today. I want to do at least 3, and then get started on these pages. And then I can go back and revise some of those cover pencils before I get into the inks. Some kind of so yeah, just working on that tonight. So hopefully get this nicely roughed in, get the pencils initially on here, and then tomorrow's a teaching day, so I don't know that I'll be on much beyond the morning warm up. I've got some school chores to do tomorrow, and so tomorrow will be limited in terms of the artistic activity, but then back on Wednesday for a full day. So that's coming down over there. Yeah, so hopefully it reads though. Let's see if I can find a better picture of the glove. That's definitely mostly better, a little blurry. Blurry. Okay, better. Maybe we'll go with that one. Decide what this knife is going to look like, huh? Besides big. I'll if I get some thumb grips over there. So something like that. Yeah, more or less what this thing looks like back here, the sort of pick thing. It's a multi-tool of sorts. Let's see. Strap over here. Nope. Thank you for asking, though. But nope, I don't have any need for a video editor. But good luck with that. So let's go up more. Let's see. Raise the gears up. I'll get this more impression looking down on him. Alright, I think I feel okay with where he's at now. And it's going to be there, and be up there. Let's see. You should let me know if there's any questions out there. I don't mind chatting things up. I just don't necessarily want to repeat myself to people too much. This is just a cover for a little pitch project I'm working on. So, thought I would do this here. creatures in here. So the idea with them is like the top of their heads are narrower than the bottom, kind of like a crocodile to a certain degree. And normally they're not really super active predators, but they like to kind of lie in wait, and their eyes kind of come up, and they kind of camouflage like plant stalks or something. I'm gonna bring this in front of you. Their eyes kind of work like a slug or a snail, and so they kind of go up and down. Bring that in front. Maybe have this one kind of shrinking back a little bit. Hello, over there. Oh, hello, Hassan. So, mouth out wide, and then it's like a little notch in the middle of the mouth that the top part kind of inserts into. So we don't get to see the whole creature. We will in the other pages, but not here. Let's try to put the teeth placement in. Everybody caught up on Primal? Just watched the most recent episode today. And some good stuff in there. The dinosaur being not entirely certain about the return of his of her friend. Definitely uncertain feelings there. Seeing Spear come back. I think the dinosaur's named Fang. Something like that. Anyway, been trying to figure out what to do. And then his the girl Mira that he traveled with, she's pregnant with his baby. But, but he doesn't quite know what's going on because he's an undead monster. This is going to go wide. This is going to go straight up and down a bit more. Okay. Right. Well, I'm setting my juice here. Which is probably fine. Help me sleep better if I don't drink too much anyway, right? Right, Bosch. A good faithful puppy laying under my feet. Waiting for his special time of day, which he has multiples during the day. But now we wait for the final, well, second to final, special part of the day, the countdown to frozen vegetables, which is a very exciting part of the day. Oh, I might have missed that YouTube comment. Nope, I don't see it over there anyway. But maybe it's from earlier today. We also got snail eyes earlier today. So I guess this side would be like up here. Do I know? Shuck. Nope, I don't know what that word means at all. But thank you for putting it in all caps. Right, Bosch? I know my dog named Bosch. And he's a good boy. Even if he's not getting everything he wants at this moment. Do you know what that is? I don't know what that is over there on Kick. I have no clue. But I'm a very simple person, so. Yeah, it's only that big here. Well, maybe we need to make this tooth much bigger. I'll push that leg back there a little bit more. This tooth is smaller inside there. file's going to be back here, so it gets somewhat obscured. So keep that simple. And sapling or something coming down over here. Branch coming out. You are new to Kick. I'm relatively kind of new as it is. You know, I don't have that many followers on here, and I've been using it for a while, but I don't really focus a lot on maybe things that I should. But oh well. Oh, well, welcome. Welcome, welcome. I suppose, right? Is there a particular reason why you selected Kick over other platforms, or in addition to? Just for kicks, as it were. It could be. I need to. I'm kind of roughing it in and then go back and tweak things. Um, Trying to get like a downward view, so maybe I need to bring the nose up and the mouth up a little bit, and that kind of enlarge. Trying to, like the idea is to look down on the face a little bit, something like that. So I'm roughing it with this red, and I can tweak it and come back with the actual pencil, the graphite. Um, so I had to adjust the other one. I did quite a bit too. So um, we'll see how I feel about it in a bit and look at it in the mirror or something like that. But if it looks too big, it probably means it is too big, right? Yeah, it's kind of one of those things, right? So even if it was like accurate, 100%, if it looks like it's not quite right, then or it feels not quite right, then yeah, then it's a problem. Or I could just say it's all style, right? Make that excuse, but that's not me. Sculptor's problem, proportions, yeah. So you have calipers, right? Yeah, I was explaining to my students that there's certain things that people just assume when they look at your work. Like they assume that you know good perspective or anatomy or proportions. Like they're just going to expect that without even thinking about it. So they're already going to be doing that because they're an artist who is a professional who knows their business. And you kind of weaken yourself if you don't build up a certain amount of comfort with those subjects. Limits your opportunities. And um, yeah, I teach at a university. I teach drawing and art and painting and illustration, but not comics. So that's something I'm working on for myself to improve. So like you put a figure model in front of me, and I can go all day with it, drawing and doing a nice render and everything. But definitely drawing people from mixed reference. Like I have a photo of myself in not great versions of this pose, and I've got like a little maquette that I'm working on, a little M13 figure action figurine thing that I'm using as a pose reference. But his head's definitely a lot smaller than this one. So Virginia Commonwealth University. It's in Richmond, Virginia, in the United States. I'm not even sure if they have me on their website yet. I've been here for like 2 years, and I'm a full-time professor. So, but yeah, I've taught for a long time. So one of the things I've been teaching a lot over the last number of years is something called cinematic storytelling, and that's where you use shots and camera angles and things to tell stories. It's used a lot in movies, so that's where the name comes from. So thinking in terms of lenses and shot angles, like this is a downshot Dutch angle. Um, but um, but yeah, I've always loved comics, and then but I never really pursued them. It was just because I had heard what the page rates were. I was like, oh, I definitely can't afford to be a comic book artist if those are what the page rates are like. And so I backed off of that as a teenager. Still read them and collect them and all that, but I was working on kind of an update to my concept portfolio, which is where I've done most of my professional work is in visual development and concept art. And um, so when I was working on this project, and I kept having like story ideas come up because I wanted to do a more cohesive book. And stories are not book but a portfolio. And kind of build story into the visuals. And as I did that, I had more and more stories come up. I love. I have a good time. There's definitely challenges associated with it. It's not the most high paying job, but you get a lot of free time, and um, most of the colleagues are really really great, and students are fun, and I like it. There's definitely drawbacks and things. There's unusual expectations and all that come with it sometimes. But I enjoy it a lot. Wasn't something I ever planned to do necessarily. It's something I kind of fell into. But it was actually a case of mistaken identity. I wasn't going to do it at all. And I started applying for jobs doing concept art, and then as I was about to graduate, they asked me if I would stay and teach part time. And I was working on some other things, so I thought, oh, that'd be perfect, because that way I can, focus on these other things that I was, I was studying privately with these painters locally, and I was kind of really into that for a long time. And anyway, they offered me a part-time teaching job, so I was like, oh, I can do that, and then I can live real cheap, work with these painters, work on my skills, etc. And fell into that. It was actually a case of mistaken identity that got me hired. They thought some drawings on some whiteboards were mine when they were in fact not mine. But I didn't find that out till a lot later, um, which is kind of funny. Little anecdote. But yeah, so I've been doing this, been teaching since 2004. Just before I graduated, I started teaching. So a few months before then. Uh, so I'm kind of roughed in. Now let's see how I feel about that head. Put it in front of the mirror here and see what I think. Yeah, it's definitely big. Let's see, where's my eraser? So, it is hard to get. I don't know that I recommend pursuing it directly. Um, one of the problems with universities and art positions is they're actually pretty rare, especially this kind of stuff, teaching illustration. Um, there actually aren't that many positions for them. Um, let's slope this face down more. Use my wedge style head here. That way we can put the eyes going down, going back, and then use the forehead side. Let's make the eyes down a little bit lower. But yeah, once I was in grad school, some of the professors were like, hey, you specifically should pursue full-time teaching. Like one of my favorite, one of the professors I went to that school for specifically said that to me, and wasn't anything I'd really ever really seriously considered. I was going to kind of go back to doing concept art, and so I wasn't sure entirely what I was going to do. And so, but that was kind of the main thought. Was to go do that, and then. But yeah, I was graduating. The guy was like one of my old professors at a new school, and he said, "Hey, come teach for us." I was like, "Oh, I'll do that part time," because that's what they were offering. And then later I started applying for full-time spots and got one. Pretty famous university. It's actually not a very good university, but it's pretty famous. Art school, SCAD. And so I went and taught for them in Hong Kong for a few years. And then when I left that, I found other positions as well. But you know, I settled here eventually a few years ago. Forehead. Heads tend to get wider as they go back for the most part. I think I've actually seen some exceptions to that, but they're pretty rare. Um, but you know, I think you know, pursuing an academic position is something maybe to do kind of while doing other things. Um, so I wouldn't necessarily like make it your target goal, but if you kind of make it your you know, look for opportunities to do it and then do it, you know, that's it's a little bit different. Just because I know that they can be, there's not very many of them, and depending on what your interests are, like it could be pretty limiting as to the number of opportunities that are out there. It's like if I apply to places now, like my portfolio is much more attractive, but that's because I have a lot of student work, a lot of things that I've taught, and so that helps to a certain degree for me to find opportunities to teach. Because people are like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing in the classroom, and I can come in and teach a class and talk about stuff for a few hours without much difficulty. Depending on the subject, of course. I did get one. I was once asked to apply for a spot I knew I was not qualified for, and I told them quite explicitly, I'm not qualified for this position. But it was the people I'd worked with before, and they wanted to see if they couldn't push me into a spot there. But I'm glad it was not offered to me, you know, ultimately. Um, wouldn't be the kind of thing necessarily I'd want to do. I mean, I'd figure it out, but you know, I think it would have just been more hassle than it was worth. Um, just at that point. Um, all right, let's see how we feel about that head. I think that feels better. What do we think? Head feel okay sized here. There's actually a lot of concerns too in academia. They're worried about actually the overall population because a lot of millennials and Zoomers are not having kids, and I don't know about other countries, but there's a lot of universities in the United States or something. There's nearly like 5,000 of them, and so there's a lot of universities, and people are a little bit worried that there's no kids, there won't be any students in 10, 20 years. So there's a lot of kind of nervousness around the potential student population. Um, Probably worry about perfecting that with the actual pencil. So um, there's a lot to be said for it for sure. So I have a good time, and I like teaching my classes and helping my students. So I just it's just hard to find these spots. Like if I were to go look right now and see what's come up over the last year, it'd be very few. There might be like 10 spots in a year that I might be appropriate for me to apply for. Oh, we got ourselves a bot. I'm going to go delete that bot. Dispose of that. Let's see, it's over here. There we go. There you are. And block. And then there's my thingy here. Make sure that's deleted. There we go. Poof. Let's check over here real quick. Oh, good. Just checking some stuff out there. Oh, shit. But why is it still showing up over there? Deleted it here. Guess I have to do it up there too for some reason. Oh, that wasn't the button I wanted to press. Let's see. Oh. That's how you do that, huh? I guess they're gone. I don't know what I did there. But anyway. Maybe I have to hit something else. This is the Mac thing up there, so maybe I hit the wrong side of the board. But yeah, so I don't want to dissuade anyone from pursuing it, but it is they are difficult to get. Like there's just not that many spots. So A lot of professional artists, like, they don't pursue it until later in life, so they have like a career in, whatever they do, and then become an academic later on. So they'll have some kind of career in film or games or illustration or painting or whatever, and then they'll go after the academic spot later on. There's a number of those, like where I work, where they've had long careers in Hollywood and among other things, and so yeah. Yeah, this guy's being approached by these creatures. So this is the little cover I'm working on here. It's more directly from the story. And so yeah, so I think we can knock this back and start looking at the pencils on here. So where is my kneadable eraser? That's down here somewhere. There's a triangle down here. Let's see. It's there. That's not it, obviously. It's a brush. Where is the kneadable? There it is. Put it away. That's the problem. The kneadable eraser. I use this to kind of knock back the red pencil I put on top of the red printout. This tends to not smear as much like the white ones. The white ones tend to be more thorough. This kind of pulls back the red. And then when I scan this in, I can get rid of the red by turning it black and white or removing the red from the equation. And then I can see nice. He's a nice little ghost behind that I can then pencil over. The stuff in the background's kept pretty light as it was, so a lot to pull off over there. So back. If I can with this one. Let's see. So, I guess I should start with the head so I can come back to that later if I need to. Okay, this is for pulling extra stuff off, right? That feels better. Yeah, people didn't have a lot of ideas about academia, and so I should put the other picture up. That one right there. It's a good representation of his face. Let's see, the nose. I'll be careful I don't make it look too much like me, per se. So draw through. Always helps. Alright, answer that question. Double check to make sure nobody said anything. Let's see. Probably should use the other pencil for that, huh? Ugh. Never understood the fixation with Dave Matthews Band. Alright. How do we feel about that head size? Bring that chin up. Like foreshortening, right? See how I feel about that later. Leave that there for now. Alright, just checking there. Alright. Let's see. Doesn't hesitate to ask questions or comment. Here, I just get caught up in what I'm doing. Just draw that through. Make sure that connects up there. Let's see. Build this arm here. I'll go probably more like that. Be better. where it attaches over here, in the middle, and in the back. Here it's going to be stretched quite a bit. Macronon. Let's see if I've got a better image of that. Nope, 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 nope. Kind of had them angled a little bit the wrong way there. So it seems. I think I can push this down, this up, and bring this in. Like that. That feels better. For now, detail on there. So, there. Straps on here. Let's see, what else do we got going on here tonight? There we go. Good. Good evening. toss this over here into the Concept Art Association Discord. See if it figures out what to refresh it. There we go. That works. Good evening. building. Good evening. How are we doing out there on the Instagrams? Good evening. Hmm. Maybe 8 o'clock. Moving along in the evening. How we doing? Let's see. Let's see. That feels good. Good evening. Working on a pitch project for a comic book, and this is one of the covers. So I penciled the cover earlier, finished it up, I think, mostly today, and then started on pencils for this. I already kind of had a rough build. Sorry, Bosch. Bosch is my dog. Just got up. I was thinking, oh, it's almost time for something tasty. So this is one of the covers for it. So that's what I am working on tonight. And if we get a good way it's done. I have a whole production list of things I got to do to put together the full pitch. And companies that want them, they want one cover and 5 pages usually, and the pitch and the plot, and um, yeah, so I'm putting together more than I need, and so I want to try and get some of these pencils done for the cover, a couple of the covers that I was thinking about using, and then um, but yeah, so get those pages done. I would need to color and letter everything, and get those going. So it takes some time to put that together. Well, he's got trouble up here. So basically, the quick version of the story is, well, the setting is humans have settled on this planet. On it took generational uh, colony ships as part of a larger group out to this planet and spent a couple thousand years floating through space, and they've been on this planet for 80 years, where this guy is right here. And 30 years before, he was part of the scavenger group that when the humans initially landed on the planet, there was something that happened, and some of the ships got separated from the main group, and they kind of crashed or landed in other parts of the planet and haven't been heard of. And he was part of a salvage group that would go out and collect supplies and things that they needed from these other ships when he was younger with his dad. And, he was part of a group that went out, and everyone died except for him. And now it's 30 years later, and they haven't had any new salvage since then. And then all of a sudden, one of the beacons from one of the ships starts going off. And so he has been sent out alone as one of the last people who's been out into the wild parts of the planet on a one-way mission to recover the data on the missing ship. And so that's why he's got this stuff with him. He needs to go out for an extended period of time, maybe permanently. And anyway, what he discovers at the beacon and beyond changes his perception of what happened in the past, including an oath he took. He gave to his father to not talk about something he maybe thought he saw on the ship, and so, and also changes the relationship of the colony to the planet too that they're on. One of the things also going on the planet is there's evidence of a past civilization, but there are no biological remains of that civilization. So, it's kind of a mystery, right? There's these totems and there's these towers and other structures and architecture and whatnot, but there's no biological remains and no idea what they were like or what they looked like or really what they did beyond what they kind of guess at from their structures. So that's the quick version, the pitch version, I guess, of the story. So he's someone who's been troubled by the oath that he made for for decades, and it's caused him a lot of problems. And it's a question as to whether it was an oath he should have accepted. It's been eating at him for a very, very long time. So it emerged from I was working on kind of a concept portfolio, and as I was working on it, I kept having these stories kind of popping up with it. And the creatures here, they're quite large, like say the size of a little larger than a tiger in scale. They have huge mouths, and then their eyes are kind of like the stalks on snails or slugs, and they normally hide under the earth. And then when their prey comes by, they snap them up. And he's accidentally, on his trip, he disturbed the nest. Their eyes kind of look like the local plants. So when he was walking through some plants, he disturbed a nest of these things, and they're hunting him down. That's how I open up the story. If I grab my got the first issue all roughed out, so I can show that over here. Basically, there he is. And we flip over here, and he's like, he thought he got away, but nope. He hears them coming, and he's running along here, and here's a whole pack of them chasing him. Close up of the teeth. They're running through the forest. He comes to the edge of one of these cliffs that's there. And so he's trying to figure out which way to go. And considering the down spot. So he leaps over the side, holding on to something, just in time for them to arrive. And he's working his way down, and some creatures start coming out of the cliffside. And they don't look very nice. They're going to come over and they want to chomp on him. So these guys start coming down the side of the cliff. And so here they are coming down again. Here's these creatures coming out. Here's the character down here. And they're getting closer. They're getting closer. And one of them comes over. It's about to bites him. Hurts, of course. And then he falls. And then we kind of shift gears to, there's this little thumbnail here. Basically, there's a guy floating out in space next to a large kind of asteroid-shaped moon. Some debris in the same pose as the other character, and then we kind of zoom past him. I'm going to move that panel over here, zoom past him, and there's the planet. Get close to the planet, we start to see the planet's got these strange structures weaving across it, and there's the colonial city as we zoom in on one of the neighborhoods inside of it. So that's kind of the opening here, and so this is him, facing off against those unpleasant creatures that he upset. So that's kind of what this cover is about. I had another one that I did earlier that I can pull out here. Been doing some test pages this year, but so I did like a one where it's like where he's given the promise to his father. Like, so there's the scene where his dad dies, and he's helping him out on that salvage trip, and there's the ship that they already got all blowed up. But cover I've been doing since yesterday was this one. So we've got these nice little worm creatures coming down the trees and around and behind him, in front of him. And he's backed up. Almost like they've all been consumed. I mean, the people floating in space. But it just kind of goes back to what happened in the past. There we go. I'm probably going to shut down the next few minutes. I usually stop relatively, not too early, but around 9-ish. I appreciate that. The people from the civilization. Yeah, well, yeah. So something happened. I know what it is, but they don't. And but something occurred that they're just not there anymore. Like there's no bodies. There's no biological matter. And yeah, the humans don't know what to do with their technology. Like they have no idea how it works or what it does or what it's for. It's just kind of there, like their artifacts and their all their stuff. So what's fun about this, the kind of the world I built, I actually have several. Yeah, I live in Virginia, so yeah, East Coast. I'm in Richmond, Virginia, but yeah, the way that I've been building out the concept project, like there's different time periods that I could tell stories in, right? So I could talk about when they left, different points in their trip across the absence, the vastness of space on their way in. But initially, the first story I was going to do was actually set far in the future, and northern Alberta. Okay, how far north does Alberta go? Like all the way up, or I don't remember exactly how those provinces are all laid out. They stop at a certain certain latitude, become something else. So I guess I have nothing to complain about the cold here and the ice. The lack of daylight. But I guess it's getting better now, right? I've gotten past the winter solstice back in December. But yeah, if you're curious about it, you comment comic, and my bot will DM you to get you on my email list. So it's a specific email list for this project. If I decide to crowdfund it or launch a crowdfund it or actually get it published by a specific publisher, it'll be for informing people about this project. So. Oh, okay. I don't know. I've never been up to Canada, so um, I do watch a van life YouTuber pretty regularly, Forest to Forest, and he's running around a lot of different areas in Canada. He's got a problem with his van right now, though. Apparently, he had to leave it behind the United States. So he'll spend a good chunk of the winter down, like in Utah, where he can hike and do other things. It's not so limited with the weather conditions in Canada. He's one of the few I actually still like watching because he actually goes out and does things. Um, and so some of those van life people, they just like strike you as being homeless, like they're just kind of hanging out. They're not really like doing anything. Oh, that's very generous. Was it like which school was it? I think there's a couple well-known schools in Canada, right, for art. Is it Otis or something like that, or and then I'm trying to remember what the other one was for like art and design and professional arts. Yeah, but this whole project got started a long, long time ago. I was doing these weird little multicolor pen and watercolor and color pencil drawings, and it kind of got me an idea. Algonquin College, huh? Sheridan is probably the one I've heard of. I think if there's an Otis one or something, but I think I've heard of that one too. Um, Probably a lot of other ones. I'm just not as familiar. Canada has a much smaller population than the United States, so probably don't have as many universities. So you don't need as many. I think the United States has something close to 5,000 universities, which is kind of crazy. And I've taught at 7 of them, so yeah. So I've got the first issue roughed out, like I was showing you. That was like the first scene, and so the rest of it's kind of about him getting the call to go out on this particular salvage mission, and as he and his wife kind of dealing with that and the situation of the colony there. Yeah, I teach at Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, so it's down here downtown. I live within walking distance of it, and which is nice. But I've been teaching art and illustration and painting and drawing and all that for since 2004. I had a couple year break for grad school, but other than that, I've been teaching the whole time, part time or full time. So let's see, 8. I guess I've been teaching full time for like 10.5 years now. Almost 11 years of that. It's now full time stuff. So it's just crazy to think about. But seems like it goes okay most of the time. I think. Big thing is really convincing students that they need to increase the scope of their achievements. And that can be really hard for them to kind of see what that means. Um, and but I've when I push for it, I think I feel like I get some good results out of that. Yeah. This is only halfway down, right? So I've lived in Florida. That's about as far south as it gets. I think Hawaii actually might be further south, um, but that's out in the Pacific. Never been out there to Hawaii. But I did live in Hong Kong, and that's further south than Hawaii. So, you know. Yeah, well, the thing is, if you want to be a professional artist, you really got to push it. It's like I'm teaching this sci-fi fantasy imagery class, this illustration class, and they I like to show this example of a Donato Giancola painting illustration, all these crazy reflections in it, and it's not like his best illustration ever, but it was one he did when he was relatively young. He was like mid-20s or something, as kind of his "I have arrived" piece, and it's these really, really just insanely detailed and accurate reflections, kind of in this robot creature full of gears and an oil paint. He's done back in like the '90s, early mid '90s, something like that. When I was in high school, and he. But in order for like to really impress people in those markets, you've really got to like push it. And that's the same with animation. Like they really want to see that you cannot just do the basic job, but you're going to bring that extra sauce. So I could tell my students, what they care about is how the painting or the illustration or whatever makes them feel. They assume you're doing all the correct perspective and the anatomy and the composition and the storytelling, all those basic elements. But um, a lot of stuff people don't bother learning until they get in trouble with something. They realize they really need it for something. But even if they were taught it, but what they're really looking for is that overall gestalt that makes them feel something. And to get that, you really have to push yourself. It was good in Hong Kong. I mean, I was in Hong Kong before really the Chinese government was starting to crack down. I was there for their Occupy Wall Street, like the yellow umbrella stuff back in 2016 and 15. I can't remember exactly what year it was, um, but I liked living in Hong Kong. The humidity was pretty intense. I live in Virginia. We get humidity here, but that Hong Kong humidity was just crazy. And then, like, they don't really get a lot of seasonal change. It gets cooler in the winter because of the winds off of Siberia that go down across China and down into Hong Kong. But but you still have open internet in Hong Kong. Like, it's not restricted, and they have a separate legal system. Some of their votings has an issue now where like the mayor of Hong Kong has to be approved of by the Chinese Communist Party, which is hardly communist anymore, right? Well, usually you start slow, right? So you slow initially, and then as you do it more and more, you get faster and better and more impressive, with your work. So that's pretty typical. But um, yeah, but that's where I have trouble with my students. Just like you got to move beyond like what the assignment basically is. It's got to be you got to push it further. You got to do more than just achieve competence. But yeah, yeah. So I was there walking around like downtown Hong Kong where they were all living in tents, on the road and occupying. There wasn't any kind of violent activity or anything really scary going on at that point. There was more, I guess, in 2020, just before COVID became a really big thing. Um, but I was already gone by that time. There were some riots and things. Maybe manufactured by China. It's hard to say. It's like people have been talking about look at these amazing videos from China showing how great life is there, like autonomous cars and robot coffee machines out in the parks, and things are really cheap, and you take naps at work and all this stuff. And I'm like, one I saw recently, she was in Shenzhen, China, which is just over the border into China from Hong Kong. And I've been to Shenzhen a few times because I lived in Hong Kong. It's really easy just to go over, the border for the day. You can get like a day pass kind of visa and go over the border. And like I went over to buy a bunch of art books at this art the university that's over there, and they have like this standardization process. But so I bought all these art books over there. But I distinctly remember Shenzhen 9 years ago when I was last probably there. It was filthy. In this video though, this girl was like, "It's all so nice and the air is really clean and blah blah blah," and I'm like, "That is not the Shenzhen of 9 years ago." And I doubt very very much that they cleaned it up. She's probably working in. It's a giant area, like it's really really big. So she's probably working in a specific area for certain kinds of professionals, where they have like the nicer stuff. Well, you get that in U.S. cities too, right? There's like nicer neighborhoods and things. But she was presenting that as like the normal Chinese experience, which it's not. It's pretty clearly, a very limited view of what's going on there. So, because I remember there being trash everywhere and smelling terribly. It's a big contrast from Hong Kong, which is like relatively, a very clean, modern city. Um, there's some poor areas in Hong Kong too, like Shui Po or Mong Kok. But it's a pretty nice, very clean city for the most part, just like you'd find in Europe or the United States or Japan or something like that. But I just remember being in Shenzhen, among other places I went to in China a little bit, Guilam among them, and like they were not, super pretty and modern, and that wasn't that long ago. So, unless they manifested some kind of great leap forward overnight, uh, they're playing some kind of propaganda game, which doesn't surprise me. But everyone in Hong Kong, for the most part, speaks English. So it was they speak. Most people in Hong Kong they speak Cantonese, which is kind of the southern dialect of Chinese. Shenzhen's all Mandarin. That's because it's like a new city. It's a special economic zone they built next to Hong Kong, and so a lot of the people that live there come in there from other parts of China. But you go outside of Shenzhen into the Guangdong region, the Canton region, which is where that Guangdong is the original word for. They speak Cantonese. So there's a lot of Cantonese people I think live in Canada, right? A lot of Hong Kongers. The monks from Tibet are in Canada for they're not nice, yeah. I ran into some monks in Thailand once. Apparently, I guess in Thailand, a lot of times the young men will become monks for a few years, and kind of live as monks. But I was on like this little ferry boat or something. A bunch of them, like there was a couple of them came over and they wanted pictures with me. Like I would see this like a super touristy thing to want to like take pictures with monks like that in a foreign country. Like I want to take pictures with these monks. Look really cool. But I actually didn't ask them to do that. Like they asked me. They were like, "Oh, look at this crazy white boy, this foreigner. We're gonna take pictures of him and send him back home to our family or something like that." But I thought it was funny. Oh, thank you over there, over on Kick, Big McCafe, Big McCaff. But yeah, because I just wouldn't think of like, you know, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, look at the weird foreigner. I'm going to take a picture with them. I might take pictures of weird places, you know, unusual places that I'm not accustomed to, but you know, inside of the outside or inside of temples if it's allowed, or historical places, you know, that kind of thing. But I would never think of like, oh, look at this guy, he's dressed weird. I'm gonna take a picture of him. So I have this picture of me making peace signs with these guys on this ferry boat in Bangkok. Um, yeah, a much thinner me too. I need to get this weight off. I got myself slimmed down pretty good back then. But yeah, I'd get that once in a while from I'd see like little when I lived in Hong Kong. It'd be like little Chinese kids, probably from the mainland, and you know, never seen a white person before, so they would just like stare at me, like, what is that weird guy? What's wrong with his eyes? Why are they blue? That's weird. Um, what's up with his weird colored hair? Why is it so soft looking? It lacks structure. That's I imagine their conversation in their head. But, yeah, well, my thing, well, in Hong Kong too, it's all like public transportation or walking. You know, you can get a car there, but you have to. Actually, the expensive part of a car is not buying the car; it's parking the car. So unless you've got like a place to park it, and then you can't. It's not you can't really even go very far because you're just living inside of Hong Kong. So um, you know, it's like living in New York City or something like. You know, except if you couldn't leave New York City unless you were flying out of it or you need to use your passport to leave the city. Um, but just yeah, so it wasn't a strong reason to have. So I walked everywhere and I used public transportation. And so I lost a lot of weight, but I put on most of it back recently. But I've got a plan that I'm executing and sticking to my goals and starting to get it off again. So I put a standing desk. I made my desk into a standing desk. The other one. This is a oh, hello over there on who's that? Twitch. Yeah, Donato's work's incredible. I did a class with him, so I know him a little bit. Um, he worked with Vincent Desiderio as a studio assistant. All these Italians, right? Colluding. But yeah, Donato's incredible. Um, it was funny. He was complaining about the results of the Society of Illustrators. He didn't get a single piece into the recent catalog, which is weird because like you think he'd be one of those people that would just like by default get in. You take these headphones off anyway. But you would think he's the kind of person he is and the work that he does. He would just get in by default every single time. Um, he did not apparently. But um, yeah, he definitely should get in. But it's just it's a juried thing, and you just never know. Maybe they're like, well, he gets in all the time. Maybe it's somebody else's turn. Who knows, right? I don't know what they're thinking, but But he'll speak up about issues in illustration once in a while. Like he had a big thing with Magic the Gathering, kind of creating some new rules for the use of their artwork after the illustrators use it because they don't pay that much. And I'm not sure if those rules are still in place or not, but he was pretty upset about that. I think they were demanding like all digital or something going forward or whatever. And then they wanted the people to not sell prints and originals and things like that of the paintings. But I think maybe his complaint got it pushed back. But he's a fantastic illustrator. But that painting he did of the reflections was, I'd love to see the original of that sometime. But yeah, I think I better pause there for tonight. Put my toys away. And I'll be back in the morning for a morning study, hopefully early. I've been trying to get up a little. Well, I get up on time, but trying to get started a little bit earlier so that I can get more done in the morning. Put my stuff away over here. We'll get my dog taken care of. So appreciate everybody that came in, and we'll talk at you all later.